Hello, I wanted to have a conversation because I wanted to level with you and with myself about what I'm trying to do at this point in my artistic life as a songwriter and as a creative and as a filmmaker, because I'm starting on a journey here, and I want to invite others along with it, not just because it's about my journey and about what I'm doing, but because I want to go into the heart of things. And all my life, I've felt this sense when it comes down to like creativity that I'm nearly getting into that space that, there's this wonderful quotation from the Zen Buddhist that the face that we had before we were born. And I think when it comes down to our inner potential, that thing that we could be, that thing that we could create, it's so easy to feel like we're just on the outside of our potential, or we're nearly there, or we can see it, but it remains an abstraction. We kind of can't quite get to it, like sort of Tantalus with the grapes. It can always just out of reach. And I suddenly realized that at this point in my life, I feel like a convergence of many different things. And I don't know why, but I feel this tremendous sense of hope. And I think part of the reason I'm feeling such a sense of hope, which makes no sense in terms of like something going on in the outside, it's very much an internal hope. But it's also because I think that so many of us in the creative arts, let's talk about the long tail. I'm not talking about sort of, the people who got massive records or paintings all over the world, whatever. I'm talking about the reality for most of us creatives struggling away to keep it going day after day, year after year. The thing that I think about is, okay, what's our opportunity? And the thing that I realize is that for so long, so many of us, we're looking for certain gatekeepers to kind of come in and be like a sort of magical guardian that gives us something that unlocks the rest of it. I mean, sometimes the gatekeeper can be something, if you're a musician, it can be thinking, okay, if a song goes wild on Spotify, for instance, or if you're a documentary filmmaker, it gets into Cannes or one of the main festivals, or if you're a painter getting into that gallery that you always dreamed of, or a novelist getting a publishing deal, or a designer working for one of the big companies, it doesn't matter. All of us know that thing where we've got that sense that something would unlock in some way if that were to happen. Now, the problem with that way of thinking is that it's always suspending what you could create, what you could become, what you could be onto someone or something else, whether it be a magical moment, a magical person, or a gatekeeper or a company or whatever. And I realized that at this point in my creative life, that my sense of hope is coming from a much deeper sense of self-reliance. Because when I look at the world, and I've been very resistant to this, and I think this is why I'm so excited to share it, there are so many opportunities that have never existed. And it's a tremendously exciting moment. Now, the problem is that as artists, we often feel that even though those opportunities exist, sometimes it just feels like they're for everyone else. And I have been on this journey to start really trying to get into, okay, what's the business of unlocking the hows behind those opportunities? What are the disciplines? What are the rigors? What are the actual steps that one needs to take in order to start getting this greater sense of self-responsibility and self-reliance? And that's the point that I've got to, where instead of, which has also been something that I've struggled with, instead of sort of wanting it to come from something on the outside, really going on a journey of like, okay, how can I build? What can I do day to day? And it's not about this sort of, desperation of trying to build audience or trying to get something. It's a much deeper thing about that. It's literally about taking a sense of control of one's life and artistic journey, making a plan and getting down to the business of learning. But much more than anything, it's about getting to the thought of what can I give rather than what can I get. And don't get me wrong, we want staff, we want to express ourselves, and the sense that our work's being received, and there can be a sort of will to validation and the rest of it. But I think there's what I've discovered in my life is that the point comes where you get you get through this sort of this overlapping, this folding over of breaking, where you get so humbled by the path, the creative path that we're on, that it breaks you down into the deepermost part of your center of what it is that you're about and why it is that you want to do it. And I feel that I'm going through this convergence on the one hand of the humility of like wanting to learn and to discover, going simultaneously with just having sort of like been broken over by the path in so many different ways that I just feel so excited to share what I discover and what I learn. And that's why I started the podcast last year, because the podcast was a way, okay, on the one hand, to start learning from people who are further down the river from me, people that have just done things in a different way, who've got different experiences, and learning from them and certain ways that they've unlocked certain things in their life, learning about that myself, and then passing it on, sharing it, documenting it. And that's been something so wonderful, to take this knowledge and to interject it into myself, and then to discover the joy of sharing it on. And it's been a journey that for me has started to become very, very transformational, because I realized that as a sort of older artist, you like in my 40s, that my own artistic journey, which I'm still on and I'm still so pumped for, and I can't believe how fresh and ready for the next steps I am. I feel like I'm discovering something completely new that could only happen out of the breaking and the unfolding. It's like so many false selves and false aspirations crack off, and you just get left with the center. And beginning to discover that has been a very hard to describe, but I just feel like in touch with this very deep center. But in parallel with my own creative journey, it's this excitement to share what I learn. And it's not just to share it, it's the exchange. At no point in my artistic life has it ever felt so deeply like it does at this time, that I want to exchange, that I want to learn from others, I want to have the conversation. And it's been that has brought me to YouTube as a channel to hear. And even though literally hardly anyone comes onto this channel, maybe they never will, this feels like the place that I want that exchange to happen. This is where I want to reach and meet my community. I love the podcast. The podcast is such a beautiful way of expression and of learning. And there is an exchange that goes on with it, and especially when people choose to write. With podcasts and newsletters, it's a slightly different thing. I think on YouTube, you can really get into this sort of commenting and then finding other people's channels, finding out what other people are doing, having conversation in the comments. And I think that just excites me so very much. And I don't know why, because I've been resistant to YouTube for so long, just kind of, trying it here and there, never getting consistency, it's never quite worked. But I think I didn't understand the channel for years, and I understand it now. And that's why I just wanted to sit down for a moment, unscripted, just to level about the journey that I'm on, because it's just starting. And I just want to say how much it is about the exchange. And this is just the beginning for me in my life. And I want it to be this wonderful synergy and exchange and sense of joy. And I'll be doing my own creative thing, sharing what I learn along the way. But I want it to be about the people and the conversation, because we get so trapped and alone in the arts. And I've just finished this project, the Isolation Diaries. Well, it's actually still ongoing, but I realize at the moment, this next stage of my life is about collaboration. That was about my inner spirit, and it was about my exchange with the world and nature itself. And I'm so excited to release the documentary and the vinyl, and I hope the book later in the year. But at the moment, I'm starting this new project, and that's what I want to welcome you into, because this is about collaboration, it's about contact, but it's also about hope. It's about the courage to dream. It's about saying, right, we're going to be self-reliant, but we're going to be self-reliant with each other, and we're not going to wait for the gatekeepers of the world. We're going to find the ways that we can do things on our terms, and we are going to move forward together, and we're going to do it by figuring out each step, lockstep, and sharing a journey and seeing where it goes. So look, that's my ramble over. I just want to say, for the probably 3 people that hear this, I love you, I'm with you, and your support means the world. I'm just ready for it. Let's go. There are good times ahead. And let's finish as we started, with this wonderful haze, because it just feels good. All right. Into the eternal. Much love.